Hello and welcome to another powerful and life-changing motivational lesson. If you listen carefully, this could be the moment that changes your life forever. Have you ever thought about why someone like Leonardo DiCaprio says he gives everything to every role he plays? Why did Neil Armstrong, standing on the moon, say, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind"? Why do people like Cristiano Ronaldo and Serena Williams push themselves so hard every single day? And how is it that entrepreneurs like Elon Musk take such bold steps without blinking? Where do they get this fire, this unshakable drive? When they dream of becoming something, they work relentlessly, and once they become that, they work even harder. That's the power of self-confidence. But on the other hand, so many people think a lot, but never take that first step. They have big goals, but don't act on them. They want a promotion, but haven't even had the courage to talk to their boss. There's so much they want to say, but the words never leave their mouth. So what's really stopping them? Is it a lack of skill? Or is the real problem something deeper, like self-doubt? Out of 8 billion people, around 85% struggle with self-doubt at some point. They want to do something big in life, but they don't believe in themselves. And when you doubt yourself, you can't give your full heart to anything, and when effort is half-hearted, results are too. Life starts slipping by, quietly, with a tired and unsure mind. But when you truly believe in yourself, everything feels different. Talking to people, chasing goals, even living life. That inner spark changes the game. And hey, I say it with a smile. This is just my attitude, no offense meant. For the past 14 years, I've dedicated myself to helping people transform their lives. I've helped thousands turn their self-doubt into powerful confidence. And today's video might just become a turning point for you too. This video has 3 parts. First, we'll understand what self-doubt actually is. Second, I'll show you a few surprising things that are silently damaging your confidence without you realizing it. And third, we'll dive into a powerful, proven technique, used by psychologists and top coaches, that gives real results. I'll break it down for you so simply that you'll finally understand the root of your own self-doubt. Once you learn how to remove self-doubt, you'll start to build a confident version of yourself. You'll begin to experience life in a whole new way. By the time this video ends, you'll clearly feel that self-doubt is something separate from who you truly are. It won't control you anymore. And your confidence won't just show up, it will stay. But first, let's understand the real problem. Where does self-doubt even come from? When did it begin? And what exactly is its role in our lives? See, there are mainly 2 big reasons why self-doubt develops inside us. The first one goes back to how our brain has evolved over time. Back when we were primitive humans, self-doubt actually helped us survive. Imagine going out to hunt and thinking, "Oh, look, a dinosaur. No worries, let's go shake hands with it." That would have been the end of us. But self-doubt made us pause, calculate risk, and stay alive. It's been protecting us for thousands and thousands of years, and it still does, in some situations. But here's where it gets tricky. While this self-doubt mechanism is naturally built into us, it sometimes becomes too active, especially because of certain things we go through during childhood. When we're young and we don't get enough praise from parents or teachers, when we're constantly scolded, or when we're often compared with others, whether for grades, behavior, or how we perform, this healthy self-doubt turns into an unhealthy one. It starts growing stronger and deeper within us. Now let's look at what actually happens inside the brain. There's a part of your brain called the ACC, short for anterior cingulate cortex. You can think of it as your brain's error detector. Its job is to notice mistakes or anything that goes wrong and send out an alert. And that's helpful, in small doses. But in people with high self-doubt, this part of the brain becomes overactive. It starts reacting too much, even when there's no real danger or mistake. It doesn't care about logic or reason, it just keeps ringing the alarm bell. That's how self-doubt begins to show up even in small everyday things. And the truth is, when your inner warning system goes into overdrive, it can hold you back from the smallest decisions to the biggest dreams. Now, when this system in the brain becomes overactive, it starts sending strong signals. That's when we begin to overthink. We start comparing ourselves with others. We get stuck in negative thoughts, like imagining how something didn't go right, what happened in the past, and how something worse might happen in the future. And all of this starts happening alongside self-doubt. Let's take a simple example. Suppose you promised your partner something, but forgot to follow through. When they reminded you, you felt bad. You thought, they always make me feel special, remember every little thing about me, care so deeply, and I forgot something so important. That's when your brain's error detector, the ACC, jumps into overdrive. It starts screaming, "You messed up. What did you do? What if they stop loving you? What if they walk away? Maybe I'm not worthy of love. Maybe I don't care enough." These thoughts start flooding your mind, making you feel even worse. And this kind of thinking doesn't just show up in relationships, it happens at work too. Let's say you're working on an important presentation. Suddenly, things start going wrong. A slide isn't working, your ideas stop flowing, and nothing seems to make sense. Your mind goes blank. That's when the ACC gets triggered again, and self-doubt kicks in harder. I'm not good enough. I'm not creative. I can't handle this. I'll never get promoted. I'm just not capable. Now let me tell you about a well-known general from Japan, Nobunaga. He was known for winning battles with fewer soldiers and fewer resources. Once, his territory was attacked by a much bigger enemy force. His own army was scared. They were sure they were going to lose. Nobunaga realized he had to do something fast. So he took his men to a temple and began praying for victory while flipping a coin. But before doing that, he said, "If the coin lands on heads, we'll win. If it lands on tails, we'll lose." He flipped the coin once, heads. Twice, heads again. A third time, still heads. His soldiers were thrilled. Their fear disappeared, and they truly believed they would win. And guess what? They did. They defeated an enemy force 4 times bigger than them. Later, while returning from war, his men said, "We should thank the gods for this miracle." At that moment, Nobunaga smiled, reached into his pocket, and pulled out the coin. He looked at his soldiers and said, "There's no need to thank any divine power. God didn't do anything." Everyone looked confused. What was he saying? Then he turned the coin and showed them both sides. It had heads on each side. That's right. The coin was rigged. The soldiers were stunned. Nobunaga chuckled and said, "We didn't win because of luck. We won because of you. I just tossed that coin to wake up the courage that was already sleeping inside you. And look what happened. You believed in yourselves, and you did the impossible." That's the power of belief. When life feels like a complete mess, when everything seems out of control, when your mind is full of confusion, and there's not a single solution in sight, when even small things start making your heart race, when you begin doubting yourself at every step, in that moment, confidence is what holds you together. It gives you the power to make decisions for yourself, to stop waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. It gives you strength from the inside. Confidence is not just a feeling. It's your inner energy, that untapped fire inside you. It connects who you are right now to who you can become. It's the bridge between your present and your potential. Now let's move to the second part of this journey, the part where we understand some common habits that secretly kill your confidence. These habits might sound familiar, and as you listen, see which ones you relate to. The first habit: constantly comparing yourself to others. Why can't I be like them? Why don't I speak like that? Why am I not as smart, funny, successful, cool, confident? It's a never-ending loop, and it crushes your confidence quietly, from the inside. The second habit: never expressing your own opinions. Always nodding yes to everyone and everything, even when your mind is screaming no. You become a people pleaser instead of being your true self. The third: avoiding change in your behavior. You just manage things, survive situations, telling yourself, "Chalta high, somehow I'll handle it." But growth never comes with somehow. The fourth is inconsistency in self-love. One day you feel like a superstar, and the next day you're picking yourself apart, finding 100 reasons why you're not good enough. You fill your heart with guilt and self-doubt like it's a full-time job. Then comes habit 5. Constantly asking for approval. Should I do this? Is it okay if I say that? You let others decide for you. And whatever decision they make, you follow it blindly, even if your heart disagrees. And finally, the habit of clinging to the past. Those past failures that still whisper, "You failed once, you'll fail again." You tell yourself, "This goal isn't for me. Maybe I'll try later. When the timing is right, when someone helps me, when life is easier." And that, later, never comes. These are the small habits, the silent confidence killers. They chip away at your belief day by day. But here's the good news. If you even begin to rise above these, you're already on the path to confidence. You're not becoming confident, you already are, and you're finally letting it show. Now let's talk about the third and most important part of this video, the tool that can actually flip your self-doubt on its head. This isn't some random motivational quote or a "just think positive" trick. This is a science-backed method that rewires the way your brain works and helps you break free from the loop of negative thoughts. It's called CBT, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. Sounds fancy? Well, it kinda is. But also, it's super practical. CBT is the technique that psychologists, therapists, mindset coaches, elite athletes, even people who perform under extreme pressure, use to stay calm, confident, and focused. It's been proven to treat 5 out of 6 anxiety disorders more effectively than medicines or just talking about your problems. That's how powerful it is. It's used to help people recover from depression, PTSD, and all kinds of emotional struggles. And the best part? You can use it too. Right here, right now. To build confidence that actually lasts. So what exactly is CBT? CBT is a psychological approach that doesn't just focus on what you think or feel. It goes deeper. It looks at the full loop. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, and how they're constantly feeding into each other. Let's break this down with a real-world example. Imagine you're in a room full of people. You want to speak up, say something, but then a thought pops in. What if I mess up? What if I say something dumb and people laugh? Now, this thought instantly creates a feeling: fear, nervousness, anxiety. And because of that feeling, what's your action? You stay quiet. You freeze. You miss your chance to speak. And this is where the loop begins. You didn't speak, so your brain says, "See? I told you, you can't handle it. That thought now becomes stronger. The next time, the anxiety grows faster. Again, you stay silent. Again, your confidence drops. And the cycle continues. Thought greater than feeling greater than action greater than repeat. And every loop makes you feel smaller, weaker, and more stuck. Now here's the truth. Everyone's fear is different. For some, it's public speaking. For others, it's asking for what they deserve, or starting something new, or even just expressing how they feel. But the root is the same. This endless loop of self-doubt that keeps growing. CBT has many techniques, but I'm going to give you one specific tool. One that you can literally carry with you for life. A technique that will become your personal confidence coach, your mind's best friend. It's called the triple column technique. And no, it's not about Excel sheets. Stay with me. It's way cooler than that. Now let me tell you something cool. This technique isn't just for boosting your self-confidence. It's much more than that. Whether you want to get better at solving problems, build stronger relationships, or just clear out the mental fog, this technique works everywhere. That's how powerful it is. It's called the triple column technique, developed by one of the most respected psychiatrists in the world, Dr. David D. Burns. You might have heard of his famous book, Feeling Good, The New Mood Therapy. If you haven't, don't worry, you're about to learn the best part from it. This technique is a core part of CBT, and the name itself gives away the structure. 3 columns. Number 1, thought. Number 2, distortion. Number 3, rational response. Let's take it step by step. We'll start with the first column, thought, and this step is all about identifying that sneaky little thought that keeps dragging your confidence down. Here's a relatable example to understand this better. Imagine your room has a constant foul smell. You grab a room freshener, spray it all over. Problem solved? Nope. The smell comes back after a while. Now you light an incense stick. It helps for a few minutes. Then again, the stink returns. You repeat this over and over, but nothing really works. At some point, you realize, wait a minute, maybe I should stop covering up the smell and start looking for where it's coming from. Maybe there's some old food under the bed or a sock in your bag that's turned into a biological weapon. The point is, you can't fix the problem unless you first find the source. This is exactly how your thoughts work. You can distract yourself, watch a motivational reel, go for a walk, talk to a friend, and maybe feel better for a bit. But if you don't address the actual negative thought that's causing your self-doubt, it's going to keep coming back, stronger each time. So, in the first column, you simply write down that one negative thought that's bothering you. It could be, I always mess things up, I'm not good enough, no one really takes me seriously. Whatever it is, don't judge it. Just write it as it comes. Now comes step 2, distortion, and this is where the real magic begins. This is the heart of the technique, so listen closely. Let me explain this with an example. Back when I was in school, I remember this one phase where I had just started practicing English conversations alone, in my room. I was super shy back then, and my biggest fear was that someone might overhear me. My room was right next to the living room where my cousin and his friends usually sat. Now, every evening, I would go to my room, shut the door gently and then double-check if anyone was near the door or window. I even used to press my ear to the wall, like some secret agent, just to make sure no one was around. Then one day, I gathered all my courage. I told myself, come on, today you'll speak loudly, clearly, no fear. So I stood in front of the mirror, started with a bold, hello, how are you doing today? And suddenly, I heard laughter from the next room. I froze. My heart dropped. I was like, they heard me. I knew it. They must be making fun of me now. That's it, I'm never doing this again. But a few minutes later, I realized they were watching a comedy show on TV. The laughter wasn't even about me. My confidence had vanished for no reason, just because my brain assumed the worst. This is distortion. No one was listening. No one was judging. But my mind created a fear and blew it out of proportion. So many of our fears that hold us back, fear of speaking in public, fear of starting something new, fear of failing, all come from these small distortions. Sometimes they come from childhood, sometimes from a random moment like this. But they feel real, even when they're not. And if you've understood your distortion today, then you've given something incredibly powerful to your mind. You've unlocked a pattern. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to speak English in front of a group. And every time you try, your mind throws the same kind of self-doubting thoughts at you. What if I make a mistake? What if people laugh? What if I freeze? It's like a bowler constantly throwing the same slow-off spin ball again and again, and you keep missing it. But the moment you recognize the pattern, that hey, this is the same type of fear repeating itself, you're ready. You adjust your stance, you swing with confidence, and boom, you hit it. That's what happens when you understand how your mind's distortions work. Just imagine, if you knew the exact pattern your mind follows to make you underconfident, if you understood how it keeps feeding you the same self-doubt again and again, wouldn't that change everything? You could walk into interviews with ease, give presentations without panic, speak fluent English in conversations without overthinking every word. That's why in this video, I want to give you a quick look at the types of distortions. This is psychology, but I promise, I'll keep it super simple. Also, once I explain them, I want you to tell me in the comments which distortion fits best with the examples we've already discussed. So let's start with the first one, mental filtering. Imagine you just finished a spoken English session. 10 people told you spoke really well, but one person said, you mispronounced a few words. Now what do you focus on? That one comment. You ignore all the positive feedback. That's mental filtering, like looking at a white page with one black dot and only seeing the black dot. When your mind only zooms in on the negative, your confidence doesn't even get a chance to grow. In every big wedding, there are 100 beautiful things happening: laughter, music, decorations, the joy of people coming together. But there's always that one uncle who ignores all of that and complains, there's not enough salt in the chickpeas. That's it. Out of all the good, his radar zooms in on one tiny flaw. Now think, don't we do the same with our lives? One small thing goes wrong, and suddenly it feels like everything is falling apart. This is called mental filtering, when your mind filters out all the positive and focuses only on the negative. Imagine someone trying to learn English. They've improved their vocabulary, started watching English shows, even held small conversations. But one day they fumble with a word, and suddenly they feel like they're not improving at all. That one moment of doubt overshadows all their progress. The second distortion is all or nothing thinking, also called black and white thinking. This is when you see everything in extremes. Either you're a complete success or a total failure. There's no in between. For example, someone decides to improve their English and is consistent for 3 days. On the 4th day, they skip practice. Now their mind goes, forget it, I've ruined everything. I'll never be fluent. And instead of starting again tomorrow, they just give up entirely. It's like eating one slice of pizza while dieting and then deciding, might as well eat the whole thing now. But language learning, like life, is not black and white. One off day doesn't erase your effort. Progress is messy and nonlinear, and that's perfectly normal. Now let's talk about the third distortion, overgeneralization. Let's say someone gives a presentation in English, and they get nervous, stumble a little, and someone giggles. Now they think, I can't speak English. Public speaking is just not for me. Just like that, one bad moment becomes a belief about their entire ability. It's like saying, I failed one grammar test, so English just isn't my thing. Or, I forgot a word once while talking, so I'll always mess up. That's like saying, one tree is sick, so the whole forest must be rotten. We blow up one small incident and paint our whole identity with it. The fourth one is should statements. This one's sneaky. We carry a mental backpack filled with these heavy expectations. I should speak perfect English by now. I should never make grammar mistakes. I should be confident all the time. But what happens when we don't meet these impossible standards? We beat ourselves up. We feel like we've failed. And this self-imposed pressure leads straight to self-doubt. It's like expecting yourself to run a marathon without ever training and then feeling bad for getting tired. Growth doesn't work like that. Lastly, there's emotional reasoning, believing that just because you feel something, it must be true. I feel nervous, so I must not be good enough. I feel anxious, so I must not be ready. But feelings are not facts. Just because you're scared doesn't mean you're not capable. Just because you're uncertain doesn't mean you won't succeed. Emotions are like weather, they pass. What matters is whether you choose to keep moving despite them. I'm scared of speaking in front of the camera. Now think, what is this? It's just a feeling, right? But when you start believing it as a fact, like, I'm just not confident on camera, that's when distortion happens. You've taken an emotion and turned it into your identity. Many English learners feel nervous recording themselves speaking in English. But instead of treating it as a temporary fear, they label themselves as bad at speaking. And that label sticks longer than the fear ever should have. Next comes the sixth distortion, personalization. This is when you blame yourself for things that may have nothing to do with you. Suppose you messaged someone, and they didn't reply for days. You instantly think, maybe I said something wrong. Or you're in a conversation and the person yawns, and your brain says, I must be boring. But wait, maybe they were just tired? Or caught up with something else? Personalization makes you the villain in a story that might not even be about you. The seventh distortion is magnification and minimization, and we all do this in some way. Think of those funny mirrors in amusement parks. One makes you look super tall, another one super short. Our minds sometimes use similar lenses. If something goes wrong, we zoom in. I couldn't pronounce a word during the conversation. My English is terrible. My confidence is ruined. But when something good happens, we zoom out. Yeah, I understood the podcast, but that's not a big deal. You exaggerate your failures and downplay your wins, and that distortion quietly eats your confidence. Another common trap is jumping to conclusions. This one's sneaky. Imagine a murder scene. The detective walks in, glances around, and says, "The gardener did it." No proof, no clues, just assumptions. Now think, don't we do the same with ourselves? You're about to give a presentation in English and you tell yourself, they're going to laugh at me. Or, they'll think I sound stupid. Where's the evidence? There is none. It's just a prediction, but your mind is treating it like a fact. Let's bring it home with two final examples. Imagine someone says, if I speak English on stage, I'll be humiliated. What's that? Yep, jumping to conclusion. Another person says, "I didn't get selected in the interview, that means I'm not good enough at English." That's classic overgeneralization. A single event is now being used to define your whole ability. Now tell me, how many of these distortions do you recognize in your own thought patterns? Be honest. Once you spot the distortion, you can challenge it, and once you challenge it, you take back control. That's the power we're building in this journey. So, next time when a negative thought pops up, when that familiar self-doubt whispers in your ear, you won't just accept it blindly. You'll pause. You'll recognize the pattern behind it. Because now you know it's not always reality. It could just be a distorted thought, sneaking in to shake your confidence. And when you understand it, you can handle it. That's where step 3 comes in. The third column, your rational response. Think of this step like a courtroom. On one side, your negative thought is shouting, "You're not good enough." And on the other side, your awareness steps in and says, "Hold on, let's see the evidence." This is the moment when you stop treating your thoughts like facts and start challenging them with logic. Just like earlier, when I mistook my hanging Curtis sleeve for a ghost. That was distortion. It wasn't a ghost. It wasn't even a person. It was just cloth, but my brain turned it into a horror scene. That's exactly what distorted thoughts do. They turn cats into lions. Now let's bring back that stage fear example. Suppose your thought is, "If I speak English on stage, people will laugh at me." You've already identified the distortion, jumping to conclusion. So, what should your rational response be? First, focus on what you can control. You can control your practice, your preparation, your mindset, but not people's reactions. And honestly, most people aren't sitting there hoping you mess up. Maybe you had a few classmates in the past who laughed, but that's not the world. In real life, when someone makes an effort to speak, even broken English, people respect that. Second, remind yourself of the truth. You've already improved. You've already spoken English in front of people, maybe in class, maybe in front of the mirror, maybe on camera. Did everyone laugh? No. Your fear is not a fact. It's a memory or assumption magnified by your brain. So from now on, your mind might try to play its old games, but you'll be sitting in that courtroom, calmly cross-examining those thoughts. Not running away from them, but facing them with clarity and courage. And that, my friend, is how real confidence begins to grow. Thirdly, let's flip the perspective. Those who might be laughing at you. Most of them don't even have the guts to step on stage themselves. But you do. You're the one actually facing the fear, doing the thing. That, in itself, is strength. Fourthly, getting laughed at or messing up. It's part of the process. You'll feel scared the first few times, maybe even embarrassed. But what's the worst that could happen? A few awkward moments? Some people giggling? That's all short term. But what's the best that could happen? You grow. You get stronger. And next time, you stand there a little more confident, a little more fluent, a little more powerful. This is what rational responses do. They're like your mental evidence, your courtroom proof, against those distorted thoughts. They help you realize, yes, I can act. I can grow. I can move forward. If self-doubt is something you've created, then confidence is something you can create too. Let's take another example. I didn't get the job. That must mean I'm not good enough. Sounds familiar, right? Now let's break it down. What's the rational response here? First, one rejection does not define your worth or capability. This is a classic case of overgeneralization. The truth? It's a competitive market out there. Sometimes, it takes time to land a win. If 20 people apply, 19 might get rejected. That doesn't mean those 19 are failures. It means it's just not their turn yet. Maybe you were one of the 19 this time, but you could be that one next time. The key is, don't waste energy on self-pity, channel it into action and learning. Ask yourself, what can I improve for the next opportunity? That's how confidence builds, not from being perfect, but from learning through imperfection. Now, here's where real transformation starts. If you sit with yourself and reflect, you'll notice that only a few self-doubts have been holding you back from huge possibilities. Just a few mental blocks have limited your massive potential. Now that you've identified them, write them down. Yes, literally, on paper. And then, do it again the next day. Journal it, reflect, repeat. You'll start to feel lighter, more in control. And over time, it won't just feel like theory, it'll feel like progress. Keep reminding yourself. This is a distortion, not reality. Build that habit like a lawyer preparing for trial. Let your inner rational voice speak up. Challenge those assumptions. And if the self-doubt is minor, maybe you'll start seeing a shift in just 7 days. If it's deeper, give it 21 days. Just 5 to 10 minutes a day. Sit down, reflect, write, respond. Imagine what kind of person you'll become if you stay consistent. The potential you'll unlock. The calm, clear confidence you'll radiate. Always remember, confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. One small step, one tiny push at a time. And each of those little steps, especially in your English learning journey, stacks up to create unshakable belief in yourself. And hey, if this video sparked something in you, if it helped you understand yourself a little better or gave you a new way to think about confidence, then don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, because it really supports the channel. Comment below and let me know, what part hit you the hardest? Share this with a friend who needs a boost today. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel if you're on a mission to improve your English and mindset through real stories and relatable lessons. Keep believing, keep speaking, and keep becoming your best version. I'll see you in the next one.